What's up, Internet? My name's Ori. It is Monday, August 18th, day number 42 inside the Big Brother house. Mickey continues to lose support. Lauren is in the bad place, and late night scrambles lead to Rachel calling out Vince and Morgan. Let's talk about that, plus all the intel drama and more from yesterday's live feeds. But first, if you are new here, hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, hit that like button, hit that notification bell. You'll never miss a video. You'll never miss a stream. Speaking of, we were supposed to have a watch party last night, and I apologize. I had to cancel it last minute. I always feel really bad whenever I have to bail on something like that I committed to for you guys, because you just show me so much love and support here on this channel. But I promise you, I'm going to make it up to you on Wednesday's watch party. No challenge. We're just going to do a watch party for Wednesday's episode. But you guys don't want to hear about my drama. You want to hear about what's going on inside this Big Brother house. So let's give you a little recap. If you haven't been keeping up with everything going on, Rachel won HOH and nominated Mickey, Morgan, and Vince. Lauren ends up winning the power of veto, and it seemed like she was leaning on not using it, keeping the nominations the same. Despite Vince being her closest ally, it feels like Vince has a very easy time to stay this week, should have 5 votes locked in, and Mickey and Morgan would go no matter what. But it is still a risk to leave your ally on the block like that. So that takes us to yesterday. We start off with Rachel and Kelly having a little chat, trying to clear the air about all of the Mickey stuff. If you guys remember, during Mickey and Rachel's convos, a lot of stuff came out with Kelly, and then Rachel was like, well, why don't I get Kelly up here? And Mickey's like, whoa, don't do that. But they had a little chat. Rachel tells Kelly that, it really hurt her feelings that Kelly went and told Mickey about her feeling iced out and the whole grilled cheese incident and all that kind of stuff. Kelly says, listen, I'm sorry. It wasn't malicious. It had no ill intent. I didn't mean to really do anything that would harm your game or anything like that. I, even thought maybe I was trying to be helpful a little bit, trying to get you and Mickey to kind of be closer again. So they kind of just clear the air with that chat. We also get Rachel meeting up with Keanu. Keanu starts it off just bowing to Rachel, my queen. She ends up kind of giving him a little bit of a browbeating, though, where she says, listen, you ended up telling Ashley a little bit too much about you wanting to keep Mickey, and she's really convinced now that you would keep Mickey in the vote. And you being that convincing is a little bit worrying, because are you just lying to me too? And Keanu says, no. Ashley's just super gullible. He reassures, I am with you. I'm with Kelly. I'm with Catherine, Riley, Vince. That is the group that I want to ride with. Rachel says, you just got to stop being so reckless. When I went and played my first season, I was reckless. When I went in the second time, I wasn't as reckless, and I won. She says, you got to make sure, listen, I know you said you trust Riley 100%, but you are not his number one. Catherine is his number one. And I feel like I'm babysitting you, Keanu. Again, their chats are just the most fun back and forth, because Keanu's like, I don't know if Catherine's really Riley's number one. I think there's a little bit more to it. If she's still here later in the game, in the week final 3, final 4, maybe then she's his number one. But he's pretty convinced that it wasn't. We then move on to Keanu meeting up with Riley. And Keanu's kind of been pitching this whole idea of them working together. They have the unexpendables, right? It's Keanu, Vince, and Riley. And they talk about kind of having a little bit of that +1 strategy where they each have somebody. Riley would have Catherine, Keanu would have Rachel, Vince would have Lauren, and they can kind of go to the end. It's actually a good plan. This isn't a bad plan from Keanu. He's just a little misguided in some of his feelings on how the games are going. And after the talk that he had with Rachel, he tells Riley, Rachel's not even considering you for a renom, so you should be good there. We can trust in her. Riley also starts going in on Ashley, saying she's been running her mouth, throwing Rachel under the bus, and he's like, Ashley can effing go. We then get Keanu talking to Ashley, And what does Keanu do but throws Riley under the bus to Ashley, saying Riley's probably the most popular one in here, that he's just like Zach, and if he stays, he's going to end up winning this game. So Keanu kind of going out there and just throwing Riley under the bus to Ashley. He also brags just about, convincing everyone about how good he is at lying. He's been kind of saying this to himself. He's like, I'm just surprised how good I am at convincing people. We also get Ava and Will meeting up. Again, they're, kind of upset with Mickey and even Morgan. They're kind of losing a lot of trust in them. And Ava's really upset because she heard that Mickey and Morgan would use her as a pawn, and she's really disappointed to hear about that. Will says, Ava, we gotta win HOH, and we gotta set this house on fire. We then get Kelly and Lauren meeting up. Kelly was talking about, how Vince should be safe this year, and if you use the veto on anybody, you're probably going to upset a lot of people, including Rachel. Kelly says that, Vince, he's safe regardless, but you know what? Later, next week, I want to take a shot at Rachel. We then get Catherine and Lauren meeting up. Once again, Catherine's kind of telling her, like, look, it's probably best if you just don't use this. And then she does say, like, Lauren, you should go talk to Rachel and you try and see who the renom would even be before you would use it, which Lauren does. She goes and has a chat with Rachel. This was excruciatingly painful to watch, as Rachel kind of tries to stress, like, hey, the veto is your choice, but you probably shouldn't use it, right? Like, you can do whatever you want with it, but I would rather you not use it. And she tries to get the renom out of Rachel, but she won't say who it will be. And Lauren actually kind of admits to how close she is to Vince, and that had been a thing they were trying to hide, though most people already kind of know that they're kind of a pairing. But this conversation doesn't really go anywhere. Lots of ums and I don't know from Lauren. At this point, Lauren, I'm fully convinced, is just Chidi from The Good Place. This is Lauren's bad place, where they just force her to make decisions over and over and over, and it's just excruciatingly painful, not just for her but for us watching. We then ended up getting kind of a funny little thing where Rachel was joking around with Catherine, saying like, oh yeah, look at your boyfriends in all the group chats with the girls, and Ava's like, wait, is Riley your boyfriend? Catherine's just like, no, that is not what, no. Just very, very straightforward. We also then end up getting Ashley, who wonders, hey, where's the burger that I saved? Turns out it was Mickey who ate the burger. So now we've got another thing to deal with here. We had grilled cheese gate. We got burger gate. Mickey was doing pasta. We had the pasta gate with Kelly. These people, they just don't like when you're touching their food. It is a thing. We then get Keanu and Lauren meeting up. Keanu, again, kind of pushing that, she shouldn't use the veto. Vince is like 99% sure that Vince is going to stay. He's also pretty sure that he wouldn't be the renom if it was used either. But again, just trying to tell Lauren, like, it's probably best if you just don't use it, though. We ended up getting Lauren and Morgan meeting up, and Morgan actually, she's praising her for saying, how great she's doing. She brought some ice cream to make it kind of fun. And then she starts going in on how much they just both love Zach, right? And Zach was so selfish, and we had a little bit of a thing. It was Zach, Vince, and myself. It was kind of the final three, but Lauren, you were always an extension to it. Then she starts getting emotional, and she's like, Zach would have wanted us to work together. And she tells Lauren all about Zach's 10K and how it was actually a prize, or not a power that he could have used to take himself off, and how selfless he was and making sure that we were safe, and he'd stayed up on the block for us. And she says, like, as far as I know, I'm the only one who knows about it. Here, we all know that Mickey knows about it as well. But again, not really much comes from this conversation either. Lauren doesn't say too much, just like, I don't know what I'm going to do yet. And then we do get Lauren and Vince. And Vince was telling her, right, like, you got to use it. You got to use it on me. Lauren said, whether or not she's going to use the veto, she's still a little unsure. But when she left Rachel with the decision, she was saying that it's kind of your decision. And Vince is like, wait, she's saying it's your decision? That feels like manipulation to me. Which then Vince goes on to manipulate her just as much. saying that, you know what, it would probably be Kelly or Ashley who's the renom. Kelly's a calm threat. Ashley would just be a pawn. She's not even somebody that people would look at to vote out of this game. Vince actually says, like, Kelly said that she'd nom Rachel, Keanu, and Ashley or Lauren. And that also that she made this comment that she would put a hex on the left side of the memory wall because all of those people are going to leave. As many of the people outside have also kind of noticed, there is a little bit of a curse going on with the memory wall where everybody who's leaving happens to be on the left side of it. So that is a thing. Lauren does say to Vince that she is starting to lean towards using the veto on Vince. But as we know with Lauren, she's probably going to change her mind 17 million times. And they both agree that they're kind of scared of Rachel and they maybe should actually talk to her together about who the renom would be and about using the veto or not. Then this is where things really start popping off. Late at night, we ended up getting Morgan, Ashley, and Will, who were talking about, what's going on with everything. And, pretty much saying that even before this, Ashley and Will were saying that Ashley and Morgan were saying that Will would vote out Mickey if he knew what Mickey was saying about him, how Will just runs back to Mickey and tells her everything. And then we get Morgan, Ashley, and Will all kind of meeting up to chat about Mickey's game, how, they really don't like how she's playing. She's trying to dictate everything, just really exposing everything that Mickey does in the game. And it does get to the point where Will tells Morgan he's kind of 50-50 between her and Mickey. So there is even that chance that Morgan would be able to stay even more over Mickey, though I think she already would have the votes even without Will. Eventually, though, we get Lauren, who goes and has a conversation with Rachel, and she says, I'm actually starting to consider to use the veto. I haven't made a final decision yet. I'll let you know in the morning. And Rachel's like, it's so late. Like, you had time to think about this. I don't even have a chance to talk to anybody because half the house is asleep. At this point, when this conversation's going on, the only people who were still awake were Rachel, Lauren, Vince, Morgan, and Ashley, who were all still up. Vince, Morgan, and Lauren end up meeting in the storage room, just kind of talking about everything. Lauren kind of fills them in on her chat with Rachel, but Rachel ends up interrupting this chat, and she's like, Lauren, do not let anyone tell you what to do. And then Lauren leaves, and Rachel says, real classy, guys. Which then Rachel leaves, and Vince and Morgan are like, wait, what's going on here? And they chase after Rachel, and they start having a conversation like right by the front door, where Rachel's like, you're pressuring Lauren into using the veto, and that's not cool. You're making a 22-year-old cry. And Vince and Morgan are like, whoa, that is not what is happening. We're not pressuring anybody. We're just having the conversation with her, and she's the one who's, making the choice on whether or not she should use it. So it's a whole big thing. Rachel ends up meeting with Keanu, and she talks about how Lauren's now probably going to use it. They start talking about what the potential nominees are going to be, and Rachel's like, I'm kind of stuck in a position. If she ends up using it, I can just send shockwaves around the house at this point. Eventually, like, she kind of hints at who it will be because Keanu keeps listing off who people could be, right? Could it be Kelly, or could it be Ashley, Ava, Will? And, Rachel just kept saying, no. And then eventually he's like, Riley? Are you going to put up Riley? And Keanu says, that's savage. That's worse than Kelly going up. Eventually, we get Rachel, who pulls Ashley for a chat, kind of the same deal, where she's like, I think they're going to use the veto now, and I think I'm going to have to put somebody up. And she says, you know what? If they're going to ruin my HOH, I might as well blow up the whole house. If they want chaos, I'll give it to them. And Ashley's like, are you going to put the showmance? Here's the thing. That's not who she's talking about, right? She really is thinking that her only option would be Kelly, which, again, lots of different combos of chats were happening here with Keanu and Vince, and Keanu and Lauren, Rachel and Lauren, Rachel and Vince, Ashley and Vince. There was just lots of different conversations that were all going around at different times here. And then people going and trying to have another conversation. It was really Keanu and Rachel just trying to scramble to figure out, like, wait a minute, what's going on here? Why is the veto being used? This is going to be terrible. Keanu met with Lauren, again, just trying to tell her, like, listen, you do what you think is best. but I want to give you the pros and cons of using it or not. He lays out how Vince has 5 votes, none of them will flip. And Lauren's like, I just don't want to upset anybody. And Keanu's like, well, you're on Big Brother. You're going to upset someone. But the only way you don't set up somebody, as many people, is to not use it. The only one who would be kind of upset might be Vince, but he'll get over it, right? He's going to stay no matter what. Lauren really doesn't say much in this conversation, but again, he's just trying to pitch to her the idea, like, if Kelly goes up, then Kelly's looking at Rachel, and then it's going to become a whole big thing there. So he's just really pushing that she shouldn't use it. Same thing with Vince. Keanu meets up with him, and he's like, listen, you just need to trust in what's going to happen here. If you're selfish and you get Lauren to use the veto on you, it could ruin this week because Kelly could end up going home. Like I said, it was a mad scramble. Eventually, Lauren went to bed through all this. She was just like, I'm just going to bed. Because Keanu and Rachel were like, we need to go find Vince and Lauren right now. We need to go talk to them. Like, I'll take Vince, you take Lauren, and we'll go make sure this is good. He's like, I'll be good cop, you be bad cop. But again, Lauren went to bed, so they couldn't find him, couldn't find her. Rachel, though, goes and finds Vince. They meet up in the backyard, and they kind of hug it out as well. But then we also get Rachel talking to Ashley about the potential renom. And she was saying, you know, I just don't know what I'm going to do here if they end up using this veto. And, you know, one of the things about Ashley is she starts actually talking about Mickey and how, you know what, like maybe there's something there. Rachel's like, maybe I should go talk to Mickey about it, right? Maybe I should make a deal with Mickey and then put somebody up that she's going to have the best chance to stay. But Ashley kind of pushes back on this because Rachel's like, wait, what do you know? Because Ashley started making some faces. She's like, what do you know, Ashley? And Ashley's like, listen, I found out some stuff about Mickey and it's making me kind of unsure about her, right? Like, just think about it. She keeps, you know, turning on her allies before it's way too, before you really even need to. So like, what are we doing here? But was just a wild night of feeds. Really, everybody kind of ended up going to bed. Rachel was like, I'm going to go to bed. There was a kind of a funny little thing, too, where Rachel was saying, like, oh, I'm going to go to bed. And Vince is like, oh, you gave Will your HOH room all week. Like, that's really sweet. And Rachel goes, like, I am a nice person. I do have emotional intelligence. And Keanu kind of, like, holds back a laugh. And Vince is like, wait, did he say something dumb again? And Rachel's like, actually, no. He said something pretty smart. Kind of going back to Rachel and Keanu just kind of talking about how they're going to fix this, how they kind of get things to go. The two of them are just so much fun. It's such a interesting dynamic with Rachel and Keanu that I absolutely love it. But it seems as of now, as everybody's kind of going to bed, Vince and Keanu, I think, are still kind of up actually right now. But I wanted to make sure I get this video up and ready for you guys. It might even be a little bit late and you guys are going to be freaking out. It's like, oh no, what has happened to Ori? We missed a watch party and the video's late. But I'm going to get this out for you guys. We could take a look here at our allegiance chart for the week. I might have made a couple little changes, nothing too dramatic. Let's see if you guys can pick out all of the new stuff here. But for the most part, the house is pretty much the same. I actually have Morgan farther up than Mickey now at this point, because Mickey, it does seem, would have the most likely chance of leaving this week, especially if it did end up being Mickey and Morgan. It feels like a lot of people would end up keeping her over Mickey, especially as more of her allies start to lose trust in her. But Rachel now has a decision to make, right? She said she's not putting up Ava. She's not going to put up Will. Necessarily, they would be good pawns because anybody they sit next to will probably stay, but she's not going to risk that at all, right? She doesn't want to lose another ally. She also seemingly will not put up Ashley either. It seems like she's definitely going to keep that one safe as well. So she's really keeping that kind of side of the house safe, which is smart. You can see by the allegiance chart, those are kind of Rachel's closest numbers that she has. There is also Keanu kind of floating out in the middle, and she's not going to put him up either. Lauren can't go up. Vince, Morgan, and Mickey are already up. Her only real options would be between Kelly, Catherine, and Riley. She doesn't necessarily even say those three to Ashley or when she's talking about it. But with the showmans, if you put one of them up, you're pissing both of them up. At least with Kelly, you're only getting one person that you're really upsetting. It also probably is a really smart move, even without the info that Rachel doesn't have. We know that Kelly has been throwing Rachel under the bus and suggesting that she would put her up on the block next week. Now, here's the thing with Kelly. You can't always trust what she says to somebody. Kelly is a complete wild card in this game. So we're going to have to see how that all plays out as well. But man, what a wild night that turned out to be after just a crazy scramble and Lauren telling Rachel she was going to use it. Now, the veto ceremony will take place today, but how early will it take place? A lot of times ceremonies can vary in when they take place. It could be early in the morning. It could be later in the day. And it's going to be interesting to see how much time they actually have to get some discussions in before the veto ceremony. Because once the House wakes up and they start finding out about the craziness that went on last night, I expect even more craziness to happen. So it's going to be a fun day of feeds, I think, as well. Tomorrow we'll find out everything that goes on. I'll have you guys fully filled in on all that information for tomorrow's update as well. And yeah, what a crazy night. I want to thank you guys all just so much for the love and support. Like I said earlier, I feel bad whenever I let you guys down and I don't, pull through on something that I committed to, especially something that you guys earned. You hit that like goal on yesterday's video so fast. And I just really feel bad like I let you guys down, and I never want to do that. I will say too, though, if you're new here, hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, hit that like button, hit that notification bell. You'll never miss a video. You'll never miss a stream. Once again, thank you guys all for the love and support you give me on this channel, because it really does make this whole thing just so much more fun interacting with all of you guys. I know many of you also have the same experience where you didn't really have that many people in your life while you're watching Big Brother who also watch. So how do you explain this crazy situation that's going on in the house to anybody else who's going to care? So it's been kind of cool to have just an amazing community that we've built here that is just so supporting and welcoming and having different opinions on how the game is and who's doing what, and it's amazing. And look at that, we got somebody coming on in, hitting that subscribe button right now. Listen, you don't know this, but me and you, we now have a final two. Shh, it's secret. It's secret. But to all 18,000 of you, and to all, well, my one final two, because listen, I'm talking to my one final two right now. You know who you are. You know who you are. Me and you, we're going to the end. I'm talking to you right now. I'm talking to you. You know, we're going to the final two. Thank you guys all so much for that love and support, and I cannot thank you guys enough. I know I say it a lot. I say it every video, but it's true, and I want you guys to know how much I do appreciate you. Check out all the links to my socials, pin comment down below. You can check out things like Twitter and Discord. I'm definitely not instigating like Kelly over on Twitter. I'm not doing that, I promise. I'm being a good boy. I'm being a good boy on Twitter. And then over on the Discord, you can check that out as well. Recently just remodeled the whole Discord so you can actually find different places where you're going to want to chat. There's a BB section, Survivor section. We have stuff for other reality shows, so you can talk about all of your favorites in there. There's places where you can share photos, whether it's pictures of your pets, what you're having for dinner, whatever you want to post in there, you can do that, as well as just general chat channels. So make sure you go check out the Discord, especially now that it's been revamped and has a new look to it. Thank you guys once again, and I will see you tomorrow.
Talk, Rach, what's up?
Real classy, guys.
What's classy?
Rach, we weren't trying to.